brain and reasonable ability. Stop whining and find something to do. In your eyes, so true. Let me call you sweetheart. I'm in love with you.
Hello, everybody, and welcome in. That was, I wanted to pay tribute to Dame Maggie Smith, the late great.
As you should.
Dame Maggie Smith. I mean, we are going to be talking about a witch tonight, and Professor McGonagall is probably one of the best ever to be seen on the screen. I would dare even say that Professor McGonagall was better in the movie than she was in the book, but that's because Dame Maggie Smith played it, and she is definitely the queen of facial expressions, and and I had so much fun editing that video because I'm like, this is exactly how it feels to be an introvert at a party with her face.
Facts and facts.
Oh, it was so good. But anyway, I'm Dreamy Tabitha, an artist here on YouTube, and I'm so glad for the folks that are coming in. I appreciate you. I know that there is a lot of criticism and a lot of hate towards this TV show, but we're not necessarily here to talk about the TV show per se. Sort of. It's going to kind of be a little bit of both. If you've seen the show, you've seen the show. If you've read the comics, you read the comics. So I kind of wanted to explore this character. And so I've brought on some fellow nerdettes. That might be a new word that we create. And I wanted to create some art because despite the fact that there's a little bit of controversy, just a wee bit on the internet about who this character is.
That's crazy to me because I haven't seen necessarily out and out hate for it. And if there is, I think it might be a little undeserved because I'm usually a pretty centrist kind of person. And I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, I will say that see, TV shows a bastardization. We're going to get into that. Hey, you know me. That's right. Hit the like button. It's Chris the Geek. Welcome in. So, yeah, there's a lot of speculation about all this, but I find what I have seen of Agatha to be a very interesting character that I thought would be fun to turn into some kind of art form. And so we're going to be talking about that today. Before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let me introduce our wonderful little guest. I don't know why. I'm not sure what that adjective is there for necessarily, but this is Maria, the Geeky Crochet, also unlocking lore. Of course, all of the links will be in the description box down below if you're interested in what she does. Watercolor, storytelling, all great stuff. Maria, tell the folks a little bit about yourself as we get ourselves started.
So I am a holistic artist. So that is finally what I have decided to, define myself as, because I do
great definition.
I do everything that you could possibly be under the sun. I try everything. So I've decided it's like holistic artist. I am a performing artist. I do watercolor, acrylic, oil paint. I've done wood burning. Oh my gosh, what haven't I done? So yes, and I have my own YouTube channel as Unlocking Lore. Or TGC, Geeky Crochet. You can find me in all the social medias right down there. I'm pretty sure that Dreaming Tabitha has everything under control right up there.
I try. And Andy Masterson, yes, this has inspired me to sculpt the real Agatha from the comic books. I can't wait to know a little bit more, which is why we've brought on, from what I understand, an expert, which is Dani over here at Comics, and
Literally everything.
Cosmetics. And I can't help myself. It's just like I've gotten to know you that way.
Yeah.
No,
It's
I
not
know.
finished.
And it does have a ring to it, comic and cosmetics.
I know, and Dave's really sad too because he's the one who came up with that name. I mean, listen, Dave has so much more to do with this channel than y'all even know. Like the whole thing was even his idea. So he's a little sad, but he does understand that the way that the channel, the direction that we took, it didn't make sense to kind of limit it to that one name because I am also a holistic artist. And holistic nerd. I'm a non-denominational nerd. I love it all.
Non-domination.
So it just felt comics and it grew from there. So I'm sorry. You can call me whatever you want though, because I love you guys. But in terms of Agatha, the second and third videos I ever did for YouTube did involve Agatha. The second video was my Scarlet Witch video. Very long, overly involved, overly detailed video. And then the third video was about Agatha. So, pardon me.
Cough.
Welcome to Missouri. So I will absolutely agree with Andy. The Agatha that you see on WandaVision and Agatha All Along is not the Agatha from the comics. It's a totally different character. And we're gonna talk about the differences tonight. If you're interested in a full in-depth, and I mean in-depth breakdown of Agatha Harkness and her involvement with the Scarlet Witch, because Agatha's never had her own comic book. Everything you see with Agatha either involves the Fantastic Four or the Scarlet Witch, then please subscribe to Comics and Everything. And second and third videos, have at it. They're old, so the production quality may not be top tier. Okay? But the information and the education you gain from it
is top tier. It's top tier. Yeah, you guys should definitely check out her channel. Like I said, all the links are down below because you do some really great character breakdowns in the psychological. Like she did, her Harley Quinn one was fantastic. My personal favorite was her Wonder Woman breakdown, and it wasn't so much Wonder Woman as it was just women, but Wonder Woman was the source material. And I honestly, I was telling everybody, and I don't do that. I'm just gonna be real with you. I don't do that with all of Dani's videos.
No,
like I'm not saying that they're all bad, but like this one spoke to me on
dude, you called me.
Yeah,
you called me. I was on my way to the bank.
I do not call. I didn't even call my own mom. Okay, I don't.
I was on my way to the bank, and you called me, and the line that really sold me that I think Tabitha might actually like this video was, "This should be preached in church."
I did. I said, I was like, this is so good. And the way that you were talking about the difference of males and females and what makes us so special was so well articulated that it was like, this should be in church because we should be celebrating the differences.
We should celebrate our differences because, as Jerry Maguire said, you complete me. Men and women complete one another. We are the yin and yang of each other. Where one leaves off, the other one picks up. And that's extremely important. I think it's extremely important. And it's not a bad thing. It doesn't mean that women are weaker.
Right.
It means that we are stronger here rather than here. And that's very important. And the thing that I found so fascinating about specifically when Linda Carter's incarnation of Wonder Woman was that was a superhero, a female superhero, a woman superhero that truly embodied the superpowers of the feminine. Like she really
you hit the nail on the head. Highly recommend, guys. Like it was like from both men and women. If you're having a hard time understanding yourself as a female, if you're a man trying to understand women, I'm telling you, this was a life-changing video. But anyway,
I'm a little angry
Oh my.
that you told me that, because now I've compared everything I've done since then
No.
to it.
Sorry.
Like, I was like, I've really got to bring
I
the
am
good
so
kung
sorry for
fu now.
complimenting you. So
Because
sorry.
I
So
just
sorry.
did. I just put out. Has Star Trek made us smarter? It's a
Yes, that was good.
legitimate
Oh yes.
That was
study.
good.
It's an actual study or research on, has it actually elevated the general IQ of humanity since it's been released? And I was like, look, Tabitha was really into the Wonder Woman video and the research I put into that. So I need to come correct with this.
Hmm.
You know, I've been along Danny's journey for better entertainment. So, you know, when she reaches those, 100,000, I'll be like, that was me. It all goes back to that
Listen,
Wonder Woman.
if any of you are subscribed to my channel and have been for longer than 6 months, you will notice that my thumbnail game has gone up substantially in the
Yes.
last few weeks. And that's entirely because of Tabitha. Absolutely entirely.
Blame Tabitha.
I have been given a lot of knowledge and wisdom. The gift, I want it to be the gift that keeps on giving. There's some kind of proverb out there in the world that talks about how you shouldn't hold information, but information should be given and shared with
It's your
others.
talent. It's your talent. You shouldn't hide your talent away because God gave it to you to share.
Oh, this isn't my talent. This is just knowledge I got from other people. And
well, that's the proverb.
Hey, what's that? I need to be talking to you. Our project. I have time. We need to work on it.
I swear, I need you and my little sister to meet one day, because you two are going to hit it off and be amazing friends. I'm just saying.
Okay, I'm very particular about who I let in my friend circle, so don't get your hopes too high. But anyway, so I created a chibi naturally because that's what I do. And
I love your chibis.
This one I'm really stoked about. She's kind of cute, kind of hot, kind of a chipmunk. I don't know. But
real quick, I'm so sorry because I'm notorious for this, but I'm so sorry. So, speaking of Wonder Woman and speaking of art, I have to show you something, and I know you're going to love it. Because my best friend commissioned this for me for my birthday, handmade, custom. Can you see that well?
Oh, that's Wonder Woman.
Here.
Is that copper?
Yes.
Ooh.
All 100%. Really cool. Look at that. All done by hand. Even the stand is a W. But
wow.
Isn't that neat? Like, now I want to learn how to sculpt with copper wire because this is just super cool. But
that is really cool. That's it might look simplistic to some, but to get metal to bend the way you want it to make an attractive woman is difficult.
Hard.
And she was like, before she brought it in, and she brought the artist with her. His name is David. If anyone would like a custom statue like this, let me know. I'll send you his email.
That's
but
nice.
She was like, listen, Danielle. She called me by my Christian name.
Oh my.
She's like, listen, Danielle. He worked so hard on this. And every little bit, he agonized. It was so, I'm like, okay, who do you think I am? You think I'm just going to be like, well, this is trash?
Well, depends on the day, right? Sometimes.
All right. It's your channel. You are free to talk.
Oh, thank you for my permission. So guys, I am creating this chibi and I'm going to color it with markers and eventually I'm going to go over it with coloring pencils. There's not enough time in this stream. And then I'm assuming, Maria's going to do some watercoloring. What exactly are you going to watercolor? Are you doing in the same theme or just something else for fun?
No. So this is going to be something, a bit of a challenge for myself. I am not good at poses. Like human figures. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw her in a superhero. I'm going to draw Agatha in a superhero pose. Okay. And then I'm going to work on her to see if in watercolor, or maybe I'll just go with colored pencils. I don't know. We'll see. Well, first I want to draw her.
That is always the best way. So for those that don't know how artists work and whatever, but we draw our reference, and then depending on their medium, we're going to then was my camera blurry?
Yeah.
Hang on, where is it? Where's the best?
This is the saddest day ever.
Oh, it wasn't focus. Where's the focus? Oh, it's way up here. Well, then you can't see it. Well, darn the luck. All right. Well, we'll work with what we have. But anyway, I'm going to be doing marker and then coloring pencil. Dani looks like she is going to be doing the ever famous, the ever popular thing that made her
Woo! Yeah, baby.
Cosmetics. And so, well, we are all glad that you're here, by the way. And so I before Dani goes into the story of Agatha, by the way, love her last name, Harkness. So cool.
Isn't
Like
it?
Darkness, but it's not. It's kind of like Jonathan Harker from Dracula, but it's not. I love it. But and Agatha, what an ancient name. So Agatha all along, this is the show that we have been given. However, I have some questions because let me share a screen here. I'm a little bit confused because that's what like this is where we're at here. So I found
that's
this
a very, very recent look of hers as well, like
Okay.
as in the comics.
Okay, so I found some other ones. They're pretty similar to this. This one kind of looks like Melanie Mack, which is kind of cool. But so there's something like a similarity between this, and then you can see there's the picture over here where the contrast, and I'm a little bit confused with my drawing as I was trying to get her clothing and whatnot. I'm like, okay, the Agatha that I see in the comic books, it is not the Agatha that we're getting on the show. Now, I'm going to assume that she will eventually come into this potentially. But so I did a costume kind of based off of what I saw from comic books. So Dani, who I'm not sure where to start because I saw that it's supposed to be an old woman, but then you have this hot chick, and then we have, what is her name? Catherine. How do you pronounce her name? Catherine.
Catherine
Han. Thank you.
Han.
Where I'm not saying she's an ugly woman. I think she's really great for the role, but she's kind of in the middle there. So kind of help us understand this character and what's happening if you don't mind.
So that comic picture you showed of her, that's actually relatively new to the comics. We've always known her as a gray-haired lady who dressed kind of like a grandma with a shawl, high-collared, almost Victorian type dress, and always a cameo pin at the throat. And she always had with her her black cat Ebony, her familiar, which was also magical, and it could transform into like a large panther type creature. There she is.
Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Very different.
Another thing that's strikingly different about Agatha in the comics is that she wasn't necessarily a bad guy. She wasn't.
Okay.
She gets her start in Fantastic Four in the 60s. And it's when it's when Reed and Sue have their son Franklin. And they need a nanny for this baby. And fun fact about Franklin is he is one of the most overpowered characters in all of comic books. In Marvel, most certainly. He was so powerful that Marvel Comics actually had to retire him because it was too easy to solve problems. They can just have Franklin come in and be like, fix everything. But they had Franklin. And Sue and Reed were like, we can't take this baby with us.
Baby.
That's my one.
Hey, Retro.
Retro. So anywho, and I'm looking at a mirror and then the camera, so I can't really see much.
No, it's all good.
The chat. So if I missed anything, I'm sorry. But anywho, they're like, we can't take this baby with us while we're fighting crime. So what shall we do?
Every superhero's problem.
Babysitting, of course.
Yeah. So they get a communique from this Agatha Harkness, and they go to visit her at her house to, I guess, kind of interview her for this the role of watching their baby. So while they're there, I commit to that.
We can see it. We can see it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, nice.
So the fearsome four, their nemesis, which it was Sandman and I don't know. I'd have to look it up off the top of my head because I was told that this was kind of a free chat, so I didn't exactly prepare evidence and proof of what I'm saying. But
She's
anywho,
fired.
the fearsome four follow them to her house, and they decide they're going to kidnap and destroy the Fantastic Four while they're there. And they think that Agatha is just some harmless little old lady. Well,
boy.
guess what?
Oh boy.
The heck she is. And they learn their lesson rather quickly. And while they're there, Ben Grimm, the Thing, he's the one who discovers that she's a witch. And
Oh,
he's
okay. So
super-
she was low key, like nobody. They just thought she was a regular human.
they just thought she was some regular old lady, and they were all super surprised. You know, Ben Grimm, the Thing, was very, very scared when he
Okay.
found out that she was a witch. But she wasn't necessarily a bad guy. Agatha
Okay.
Harkness has never had her own solo comic book. She never has. She just shows up in other comics, like with the Fantastic Four. She was in a group called the Ladies of Liberty. But what we do know about Agatha is that she's thousands and thousands and thousands of years old. Like before, she was around before Atlantis sunk to the bottom of the ocean, kind of old. Yeah. And she's from a made up country in the Marvel universe known as Transia, Eastern European.
Always.
Just think Transylvania, you know.
Okay.
Where near Mount Wundagore, where near where Wanda was born. She was born in a cave.
Oh,
under
okay.
Mount Wundagore. But Agatha, and some of the stuff is relatively new and has come out since WandaVision, because this happens a lot. They pick kind of a relatively obscure character, they put it on the big screen, it gets a lot of attention, a lot more interest drummed up, so they add to stories and stuff. Hey, Jacob, I did see that.
Jacob Ironside, what is up, friend? Glad you're here. Welcome in. We're debunking the falsehoods of Agatha that Disney is trying to sell us, I guess. I don't know. We're gonna find out. Dani is the lead here.
So she has done things that were kind of sketchy, but she did them for reasons she believed would oopsie, knocked a light over. Then again, this light is sitting on a can of hairspray, so probably
light them up.
But she's done things like stolen power from other witches, or killed off witches that she felt were too weak, because well, once she moved to Salem from Transia right before during the Salem witch trials, and she decided, listen, these people, listen, Linda, listen. These normies, these muggles are out here
totally exactly how she said that.
Totally freaked out and scared of us, and they're killing witches left and right. They're burning us, they're drowning us, they're hanging us. So we really cannot risk having a bunch of lightweight milquetoast witches, okay? So she decided that they needed to kill off the weak witches.
The witches killed off the witches.
Yeah. She decided if a witch was too weak to defend herself against these muggles, these angry muggles, that they needed to be taken out of the system entirely. So that's one of the things she did that's pretty sus. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, she had a son. This is in the comics. She did have a son, and his name was Nicholas Scratch. Weird name, I know.
Scratch, like his last name was Scratch or his middle name was Scratch?
That's not really clear.
Okay.
I'm going to say both.
Maybe that was just his street name.
It was his nickname. That's what the
Street.
guys gave him.
Poor
His
guy.
stage name. So
Right.
Nicholas is a bad guy. He was not a good fellow. And he actually had 7 children who were known as
He was busy.
I know he had more kids than me, and that's difficult to do. That's a hard thing to pull off. So he had
Oh, God.
7 children, boys and girls, and they grew up to become Salem's, possessive Salem's 7, and they could shapeshift into animals and stuff.
Cool.
And they were bad guys
Handy.
too.
Handy.
And they attacked Agatha a couple of times. Agatha had created a safe haven for witches, after she killed a lot of them off and decided
it's safe now.
Gee,
I've killed everyone.
gee,
That's
yeah.
been a problem. It's safe now.
she's
Trust
like,
me.
sorry about that. To make up for it, I've built you a town. And it was in Colorado, but it was kind of like in like a pocket dimension type thing to where normies couldn't get to them.
Okay.
And it was called New Salem. I know. So clever and unique.
Wow.
Of a name.
Stunning and
So in New Salem, the Salem 7 actually catch Agatha, tie her to a pyre, and burn her to death.
Oh wow.
Like
she's
her
a witch.
grandchildren.
So much more. So much love.
I know, right? Like, you're not being very nice to your grandma. What, did she not give you enough money in your Christmas card? I thought $5 was kind of the standard, but
Oh my
apparently
gosh.
we were wrong. I did it again. So anyway, somehow she's like connected to the Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch was her most famous tutor for thousands and thousands of years. Agatha was a teacher of witches. She helped them come into their power, teach them how to control it, how to use it. And she had kind of like decided, I'm not going to do that for a while. After the thing with my kid and his kids, it's just a bit much for me. So I'm just going to be a nanny. And so she nannied Franklin Richards, which is how she met Wanda, the Scarlet Witch. Okay. So this is where things start to get a little convoluted. This is something that happens a lot in comic books. Okay. I mean, you have to remember back then, back in the 60s, 70s, even the 80s, comic books were still kind of considered for kids.
Yeah.
And they didn't really put too much stock into keeping things to
canonical.
The continuity. They didn't really put too much stock into the continuity. So things can somewhat get muddled. And that's when you have some kind of multiverse crisis event where they kind of whittle things down to clean it up and make it easier to nab it.
Dani's current crisis.
Yeah, just see, I haven't gotten to really be in here for a while and organize this stuff, so it gets convoluted as well. So around the time that Agatha starts babysitting Franklin, like she's been doing it, he's a couple years old, and the Marvel's version of the devil, his name is Mephisto.
Okay. He
decides he's going to kidnap Franklin Richards because he knows that in the future Franklin is going to become like mega ultra super overpowered and destroy him or something.
Nice.
So
Jesus.
He kidnaps Franklin, and with the help of Doctor Strange, Agatha Harkness, Fantastic Four, they get him back. But Franklin actually kind of he destroys Mephisto. He kind of blasts him and his soul apart and scatters it around the world or a
Horcrux.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
he like Horcruxes him. So he Horcruxes Mephisto. Well, around the same time that this had happened, Wanda had fallen in love with the Vision and married him. Dun dun dun.
WandaVision.
WandaVision. So anyway, Wanda is like, I really am so happy with married life. I just, I love it so much. But what would make it so much better is if I could have babies. But the Vision's a synthezoid, and
Yeah.
that really isn't. She fell in love with a robot. Okay.
Yeah.
And this is a family channel, so I can't tell you what I really think about that.
Right.
But
It's wrong.
Draw your own conclusions. So she falls in love with the Vision, but she can't have babies with him. So she basically, unbeknownst to her of her actual strength and power as a witch, she makes a very strong magical wish and ends up pregnant. But what had happened?
Wait. She made babies by making a wish, a magical.
Basically, have you heard of a hysterical pregnancy? Hysterical blindness.
No, I have never heard this.
Okay, hysterical pregnancy or ghost pregnancy is when you want to be pregnant so bad you psychologically convince your body that you're pregnant.
Yes. Okay, yes, I've heard of this.
Okay, well, basically that, but she actually made it happen. And she was able to do this and all of this was completely subconscious. Wanda didn't realize she was doing this. She had subconsciously, magically snatched a couple pieces of Mephisto's soul and used that to impregnate herself. So when Billy and
these
Tommy
were for children,
it's like Rosemary's Baby.
Oh my goodness!
Oh my god! So I just watched Apartment 7A the other day, and I'm like, wow, this is a lot like Rosemary's Baby. And then I finished watching it. It says based on the novel Rosemary's Baby. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. Right now. So, anywho, she has these babies, and Agatha comes to visit, and she's like, "So, Wanda girl, sweetie, have you noticed?"
Girl.
Have you noticed that you don't need a babysitter for these babies? That they disappear when you leave the room? And she's like, no, I'm not in the room. How would I notice that?
Oh my
so Agatha is the one who kind of puts 2 and 2 together that these babies aren't really corporeal. Yeah, they're real, but they're not human souls. They're not synthezoid souls. Okay. There's something that Wanda has.
Spawn of Satan.
They literally are.
Like literally. That's the thing.
Yes. So this guy, Master Pandemonium, he was an actor in his human life. And he was a drunk and a philanderer. And one day he is drunk driving and he goes off a cliff. And Mephisto's like, hey, bud, what's up? Having a bad day? Are you having a bad day? So here's what we can do. I will bring you back to life if you do me a super big favor. See, I'm non-corporeal right now because my soul has been. Can we just take a minute to appreciate what Maria is drawing over there?
I know it's pretty gorgeous.
Can I be built like that, please and thank you?
Maria, she says she's not good with human poses, but she likes
she's full of
a lot.
Poop. She's so full of poop. Her eyes are brown.
But look, I'm actually using a reference. Okay, this is like not.
No, you're not tracing it.
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
I'm gonna. Can I do this of you? It's like Dani.
Please.
Here, just slap her face on it.
So he creates this Master Pandemonium and he sends him out to collect the pieces of Mephisto's soul so that Mephisto can be whole again and interact in the human world. So Master Pandemonium comes across Billy and Tommy, and what does he do? He absorbs them into his being and basically gives them back to Mephisto.
Wow.
Now,
So it's basically their father
So bye,
absorbs
babies.
them.
well, not even really their father, them. Like,
It's like him
yes.
himself.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
How weird. WandaVision
So-
has changed forever now.
yeah. So,
So much for family friendly.
right. Well, this obviously sends Wanda into a complete and utter psychotic break.
Yeah.
I mean, having children, that is giving birth to your soul
Yeah.
and looking at it standing there outside of your body. That is most definitely a part of yourself.
Mhm.
So, as much as they were a part of Mephisto, they were a part of Wanda herself. And whether or not she created these little beings, magic or otherwise, which is kind of like what Wanda says in Multiverse of Madness. She's like, isn't that what any mother does?
Mm-hmm.
And it is true. It's absolutely true. We still don't know entirely exactly how this happens. It just does. We don't even know how this placenta works. We don't know these things. Anyway,
It's called magic, Dani.
it's
Okay.
called magic,
It's called
Danny. God.
It's called magic.
So
I call it
she
miracle.
I would think the mother of many would know that, but whatever.
so
Nervous laughter.
why oh, if only you knew. So Wanda goes off the deep end like any mother would and does when she loses a child, let alone all of her children at the same time.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah. And everyone tries to help her out through this, especially Agatha. Agatha first, Wanda like teams up with Mephisto and then Magneto, her father, and she becomes evil for a while and commits.
Oh, I didn't catch that she was Magneto's son, daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She is most
Oh,
definitely
okay.
Magneto's daughter. So she goes evil. She cuts all her hair off like a woman does when she's upset.
Mhm.
She gets bangs.
Like every
Oh, that's
woman does when she's
That's
upset.
harsh. That is harsh, getting bangs. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It
Okay,
is.
she's gone. She's
So
gone.
she goes nutso, and everyone tries to help her. She like kills a bunch of people, she assaults people, and finally they're like, look, the only thing we can do to fix this is erase her memory of ever having these children. So that's what Agatha does. She erases Wanda's memory of ever having children.
That is
And
Okay.
so of
That's so
course
painful.
when the day comes that Wanda realizes what has happened, that she had children, and that her mentor and closest confidant erased those memories from her, like stole that from her.
Yeah.
She feels, a little upset,
A little slighted.
a
Yeah.
little betrayed. And that's when you get something called the House of M storyline, which I'm sure you guys have heard mentioned a time or two. House of M is when Wanda utters this now very famous line of "no more mutants." She blames mutants for all her problems. Her father, everybody. She blames mutants. And so she decides to rid the world because she possesses chaos magic, reality warping magic. And it's not like an illusion, it's real. She actually changes reality. So she rids the world of virtually every single mutant. Only like a percent of mutants remain. And her father and his family, he calls himself Magnus. It's one of his many names. His birth name was Eric Lencher, but Magneto Magnus. Anyway, they rule the world. They live on their island home of Genosha, but he basically rules the world. And it's a crazy storyline, a lot of wild stuff. It was basically as I said, it was Marvel's way of cleaning up their storylines. It was, things had gotten too muddled. So they used that. But also Magneto, her father, kills her brother Quicksilver, and that messes with her. And
her father kills her brother.
Yeah, Magneto's not a nice guy. he's nice.
Why? Okay, and this is for children. So why does it sound so much like episodes of Young and the Restless or something? We got problems.
Look, make no mistake, comic books are most definitely a soap opera. Okay,
yes.
Make no mistake. And this House of M came out relatively recently in the world of comic books. This was just like maybe 20 years ago or so.
Oh, now you have to. I just wanted to say that back in the day when these comic books came out, they were made of tougher stuff. Kids were made out of tougher stuff. So
that's true. That's true.
So they could handle this.
They could handle fathers killing their children and grandkids killing their grandmothers. It's just normal, everyday stuff. Normal.
Absolutely.
So House of M actually came out in 2005. So just about 20 years ago. So that's relatively soon. But this whole story, I'm telling you, has spanned since the 60s. In between all this time, Agatha has been training magic users. She went to work at Strange Academy, Dr. Strange's school for magical
strangers,
kids and stuff. Right, magical strangers. And that's always been kind of her main shtick is teaching, teaching and mentoring. So anywho, after House of M, after the events of that, then you have something called Children's Crusade. And in Children's Crusade, Billy and Tommy are actually reincarnated into these other teenagers. And after House of M, after they set everything back,
history.
This is very true. After they come back and everything, Billy realizes who he is. He realizes, God damn it.
He is on the struggle bus.
I am, because there's just never enough room.
Yeah, that's true.
Desk, no matter what I do. And I have one desk that's about 4 feet wide and 5 feet long, and then another one next to it, and I still don't have enough room.
I mean, yeah, if it wasn't me for all my computers and stuff like that, I still wouldn't have the same amount of room that I really need for all my markers and pencils and crap. So,
right.
Yeah.
So do you really want to see my desk right now?
No, I can only imagine what that looks like. I have 3 beverages on my desk that are old. I have like 4 containers of markers, not to mention all kinds of pencils and erasers, receipts and chapstick, and of course my computer stuff. So I get it. I feel
like my wheels are caught on. Oh, it is.
I don't know why I got Voltaren on my desk.
I'm caught on a stool. So after House of M, you get Children's Crusade, when Billy and Tommy realize who they are, and they want to get Scarlet Witch back and all that stuff. So
meet Mom.
Right.
So that's where I feel they're getting a lot of their inspiration for WandaVision and
Agatha All
Along and Multiverse of Madness. That's where they're getting a lot of that stuff.
Okay.
But Agatha was never ever just an out and out bad guy. The only people that really, really hated her was most definitely Salem 7 and Nicholas Scratch and some of the witches that she tried to kill.
I can imagine.
You shouldn't hold grudges, but sometimes people make that really hard.
Well, when you're trying to kill me because you think I'm the weak link.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a lot.
You could just say, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
So, okay, I don't know how much more of Agatha's story there is, but a Q&A, if I might. So
Please.
how this is probably a loaded question. How badly are they doing with Agatha all along as far as the lore is concerned?
Awful.
Really?
Awful
Oh.
for the lore. Hey, that's your name. Lore wise, it's way off. It's way off.
Okay.
Because like Agatha wasn't a a bad person at all. She wasn't mean for the sake of it. She was blunt and she was honest, but
Okay.
she was never this just a-hole who
Yeah, she doesn't seem to be concerned about anybody or
no,
anything.
no,
She
she's
does seem to be all about self-preservation, has a soft spot for the teen, but
not.
it's like she doesn't want to, which we
Mhm.
kind of figured after episode 3 is because of maternal reasons. And but yeah, she definitely gives off a little bit more Loki vibes.
She is one petty witch.
Yeah, for sure. Like,
Yeah,
she will pretend to kind of care about other people, but she really doesn't and will stab you in the back as fast as she can if it benefits her.
That's
absolutely.
harsh.
The Agatha in the comics was not power mad. She wasn't power mad. She
Oh,
wasn't power
interesting.
hungry. She was just an ancient witch,
Yeah.
and she was very wise. That was definitely something that came across. Any of her bluntness or coldness could honestly be chalked up to her
Experience.
experience and wisdom and history eraser, but absolutely that was something I talked about right before I got started on my little journey of a tale here. But she was a mentor for Wanda. She saved her many times. She saved her life. She brought her back from the dead. uh, Agatha
As a
herself
true blue friend. Yeah.
is a true blue friend. And Agatha herself has come back from the dead at least 3 times that I can think of. And um at least once there was zero explanation for it. Like she just, oh
She was
look,
like,
she's
it's
back.
Tuesday. They're having a
Yeah,
sale over at the Costco. I
it's
think
Tuesday.
I'm here for it.
I need I need a family size, wholesale size of goldfish crackers.
Yeah.
So I
They
need to
didn't
get
have
there.
that pre-Atlantis, so
They
I'm
don't have these in hell, so
yeah.
I can't get these here.
Exactly.
So yeah, she's come back from the dead multiple times. Like after the Salem 7, after her grandkids burn her at the stake, she
Mm.
comes back and
Ouch.
there's never an explanation on how she comes back. So
Are they just trying to allude to how powerful she is? Or basically they were like,
probably
we just want her to come back. We just don't know how. So we're just going to make her come back and let everybody just wonder.
that was pretty much it.
Okay. Right.
Every time I do makeup, my nose itches so bad. And I think it's a subconscious thing because it was like when I would do hair. As soon as I would put hair color on someone's head, my nose would start to itch like mad because I know I can't touch my face.
Well, exactly. It's kind of like when you put mascara on and suddenly, yeah, you have to yawn, sneeze,
Mhm.
cough,
I
whatever.
need to
It's
smear it literally everywhere.
yeah.
But
That's typical.
Agatha, she was helpful. She was helpful.
Okay.
And she, like I said, there was nothing that completely dictated that she was, oh yeah, I'm a total good guy. But there was absolutely nothing that dictated that she was a bad guy either. It's just
Okay.
that her whatever interests aligned with good more so than it did bad.
Oh, okay. You do not get that vibe in the show.
Mm,
Is there a
no,
reason you think why they're distorting her character so badly?
because it's more fun this way.
I mean, I will say I find
Fair.
this character appealing.
Yes.
I find her very intriguing because she is a little bit impish. I say a little bit. She's very impish
Mhm.
in a way that Loki is, but
Yes.
she's different. Somehow Loki is more playful, impish, definitely. He is more playful in what he does. She is just more.
We
I'm not
needed a new Loki type character, because Loki is now the god of stories and he's holding the timeline together, and he can't necessarily just hop out of his throne and let go of all the timelines and go do
Why
fun
not?
stuff. Go have karaoke.
Poor Loki. I feel sorry for Loki now.
I do too, but
keep doing things. Sometimes one day we all just got to grow up and do the big boy things. History
What?
Eraser says her character literally created to be a powerful guardian for
Yes.
Franklin and also be a supporting player in a lot of Marvel's spooky plot lines, which were big back then.
very, very true. That's facts. That is the truth. And that's what we were talking about when we first were diving into this, when the stream started, that she very first appearance was in is it Fantastic Four number 68, or was it the year 1968? It's been a really long time since I had to deal with that. But yeah, she was created because they were like, you know what, we can't have this first family of comics and have them have a baby and then just take them on missions and stuff, because the parents of these kids are going to be like, what?
Yeah.
Like, you can't do that. So they were like, she clearly needs a babysitter, and who would be the best one to babysit this incredibly mega powered child? And they created Agatha Harkness, and it was actually Fantastic Four number 94 in October of 1969.
But you said that they didn't know that she was powerful, so they just thought they were hiring a regular person.
Well, they just thought they were hiring a very well-reputed nanny, like someone who had a lot of experience in nannying. So they were shocked to find out that, so she's actually a witch.
One of us. Well,
but one of us. But she became a huge help and helped them in a lot of those spooky missions, as History Eraser Button was saying. Lots of battles with Mephisto, lots of battles, but the best one by far is definitely when Franklin got kidnapped and held in this chrysalis by Mephisto, and they're like, okay, we're gonna go down there and we're gonna save Franklin, and it ends up Franklin being the one who blasted Mephisto into a bajillion pieces.
No worries, History. Yeah, we're going through it. So okay.
Anytime I say that, like, actually we said this earlier, is because I don't want you to think that I'm stupid.
Right. It has nothing to do with you, History. It's all about her and her vanity and her pride.
Yeah, well, listen, being a girl in this genre of YouTube, okay, and especially a girl that does her makeup while I'm talking about it, I have caught a lot of flack.
Respect.
I've caught a lot of flack from dudes who are like, you're just a girl,
Oh my gosh, really?
So I have to show my.
You gotta defend herself, So old habits die hard, man. When it's hard.
I mean, no offense.
We appreciate you guys being here and listening to Danny's takes here. Okay, so all right, so they've gotten they're just having a lot of creative liberties with this show.
Yes. And
to what end?
I did get really annoyed when Jack Schaefer, the showrunner, she was the showrunner for WandaVision also, and they were asking her about, why they went the way they did with Wanda, or I mean with Agatha, and she said, well, this character's never had her own book, so we have a lot of room. We have a lot of room to play. There's not a lot of information out there about her. And I was like, excuse me. Not true. Like, it's true that she's never had her own book, but it is true that she's never had her own book, but it's not true that there's not a preponderance of information out there about her, because there most definitely is. You didn't have to create an entirely new character for lack of source material, because
it's kind of like with Star Wars. They're like, there's just not enough material. We don't have any
there's
sources.
just no strong women in Star Wars. Please move, Princess Leia. There's no strong women. Gina Carano, I need you to stand over there.
Could you please just stand over here, ma'am?
Yeah, like just get out of the way.
Get out of the way. Okay, Shmi Skywalker. I would like to give. I always like to give a shout out to Shmi. Okay, single mom, greatness thrust upon her, has no idea what's happening to her, raising a kid in slavery, raised a wonderful child in slavery. Who eventually, I mean, we know he
had manners.
But you know, he was great. He was a hard worker. He was intelligent. He had
respect, man, respect.
Okay. And so I just like to give a shout out to Shmi and those hardworking enslaved single mothers out there. 'Cause that's a strong woman, and she was sweet. And she was sweet too.
She was. So. She wasn't angry or bitter about the situation at all. She just did what she had to do.
And
her son first. But yeah, it's kind of one of those situations when they're like, well, we didn't have any of that. Well, we did. You just chose to go this direction. And the author in me gets a little butthurt for the author of the source material.
Yeah.
Like, who are you to tell the creator of this that you know better than they did?
For sure. That's really
change the story.
Dude, like, McMahon, the power of one, the power of two, the power of many strong women. Yeah, strong women that just aren't, you know. That's kind of the issue I had with like episode 3. So I will say that episodes 1 and 2 I enjoyed. I love fantasy. And I'm not an advocate for real witchcraft, but I like fantasy witchcraft because it just has to do with magic, and typically dark magic would lead to your heroes and your villains, and it makes for an epic tale. So this had me interested. Also, I think big part of the reason that I'm not on the train, if you will, where it's like, oh, this is bad, this is terrible, blah blah blah, is because I don't know that much about the character. And so it almost seems like they should have created this Fantastic Four movie that's in the works, and then eventually released like an Agatha storyline that would have crossed over with Fantastic Four, rather than talking about because from what I understand, isn't the new Fantastic Four movie supposed to take place in the past?
Yes, but it's in a different universe.
Oh, of course it is.
They come to the main MCU at the end of the movie.
Okay. Yeah, it seems like it's a lot of strangeness, and I agree with a lot of other people where it seems like they're using the multiverse to clean up things and create weird things.
That is what those multiverse stories, that's where they initially came from in the first place in the comics, was to clean up convoluted, cluttered storyline, like clean up the comics after they've gotten so
big and
right.
I will say, will this dude McMahon, will this still be going in an hour? I've got Sunday night service in like 1 minute. It kind of depends. We typically go an hour and a half. We are obviously coming up on, I didn't even realize, on the hour mark, and we're not even like close to being finished.
I'm so not finished. I've gotten pretty far. I'm surprised.
No, that looks really good. Let's just highlight that really quick. That looks fantastic, Maria. That's really great body work. Nice. So I want to look like her when I grow up. And Deranged Lunatic says, hats off to Shmi Skywalker for just having the name Shmi. You know what? That's right. Her grandfather was a pirate. The cynic in me says the WandaVision showrunners had to have a female main villain, and they wanted someone connected to the comics, Wanda, and they did just the minimal effort on research.
Yeah. But I think also they've painted themselves in a corner with the whole giving directors and writers creative license to change stories. So they have to change it to fit all the other changes that have gone on. So I am a big fan of WandaVision.
I liked it a lot. It was very
Oh yeah,
different. But
yeah.
again, I don't know their backstory, so I'm watching it as a normie for just superhero entertainment. I don't have a connection with the storyline from the comic books, and I didn't grow up with it, so I don't have the nostalgia with it either.
Hmm. Well, the story of Wanda absolutely losing her poo poo. That's
So nice.
when that story took place in the 80s, and that's when comic writers, comic publishers started realizing that, oh, so grown-ups are reading these. Grown-ups
Ah,
are really reading these. So the storyline started to get a lot more adult, especially when Wanda goes out to the West Coast and attacks the West Coast Avengers and um will say assaults Wonder Man in front of
I think
everybody.
I've heard one of your videos talking about something like
Yeah, that was my
that.
Wonder Man breakdown. And well, and probably my Wanda breakdown too, but yeah, she full on assaults him in front of people, and it's like, wow, wow, we went there. Um but
Mhm.
Agatha Agatha's always been a very interesting character. I've always liked her. I've always found her to be she seemed comforting, kind
Interesting.
definitely like a mother figure in the sense that
That's just so funny because when you watch the show, it's like, that's not at all.
yeah,
Not at all.
absolutely not at her whatsoever. Um but she's a mother figure in the sense of okay, so she's comforting and loving when that's what you need, but when you need a firm hand and someone to tell you, okay, you are being crazy right now. You are
Okay.
being crazy. She's that as well. Like she's going to tell you what you need to hear, not necessarily what you want to hear.
Wow.
And
That's so
yeah,
crazy that they've changed the character so
yeah,
much. So now I can see why a lot of huge comic book fans are really upset with these movies and these shows and the direction that they've chosen to go because I mean, if you've got what 40, 50 years plus whatever of history with these characters in a certain way that it's going, and then you change it to where if you have this motherly figure and now suddenly she's like a callous, self-centered, whimsical
Ouch.
individual, that makes it
yeah. Agatha is, I mean, she's been around 60 years, roughly. 60 years. And so I can see why
yeah,
people would get you know upset
upset.
about that, but how I deal with it, and maybe this is
She's like, this is my therapy. This is how
yeah,
I deal with Marvel these days.
well, how I deal with it is and just like comic books themselves, it's a different universe.
Hmm.
It's a totally different universe. This is her in a totally different universe. This is a
That's what I
different
say about Star Wars. It's just
adaptation. Yeah, it's
an
yeah.
alternative
Yep.
universe.
This is just how it is in this universe. So okie dokie. And I do absolutely love Catherine Hahn as an
Mhm.
actress. If you haven't seen Step Brothers, I highly recommend Step Brothers.
I haven't.
She's fantastic. You haven't?
It's not really my kind of humor.
I know, dag nabbit. But it's so funny.
Look, I don't like dumb American movies, okay? I like dumb British movies. So,
Well, and I really, really love German Netflix shows. So I love them. I get very excited when I discover a new one or a Norwegian one because let me tell you something. Those Germans know how to do horror. Okay.
well, you've heard of the Brothers Grimm.
Yes.
There you go.
It's
Did
they
you
they are very grim, actually.
I did have the original Brothers Grimm fairy tales when I was growing up, so maybe that's what's wrong with me.
Honestly, I thought WandaVision was great, except for naming the villain Agatha. Well, that was kind of out of their wheelhouse, or out of their hands, because they were trying to base it on a character there. But it totally makes sense to name her Agatha because it's a very old name. So if you're an old woman, exactly, she's like a Jedi Master of Marvel Universe magic.
Yes, she is. She is, and she's pretty dope. She is actually, that's the name of my video. Agatha Harkness is actually the GOAT.
She's actually the GOAT. Well, and it sounds like it. She does. I'm just so. I still am a little bit amazed the fact that it's so different from that, and why they thought it would be okay. Now I understand creative liberty, and sometimes you have to take a gamble and be like, "Hey, let's try this," and it works. Like, I mean, nobody. It's kind of like with Nick Fury and the whole race swapping thing. Like, before
black, and they changed him. He was black in the comics. He was originally white, but then they made him black.
Okay, so it works out. So, like, it's like finding the happy medium with things. Some of these things, it can be hard. And again, as creatives, and we all know that here, like in this space here for artists, we all understand that sometimes you have to take a gamble with the vision that you have, and it could be loved or it could just be absolutely hated, and people are like, no, it's just, that's not for me. And so I can't imagine with the dry spell that's going on in Hollywood, how we always talk about how they need new material. And it's funny because now it's like, okay, so they are literally making their own new material, but the problem is that they're piggybacking off of original material.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, everybody. I mean, they.
Yeah, but when we do it, we get in trouble for our fan fiction. So
yeah, it's true. I'm not bitter. But you were saying, Maria?
Yeah. So, who was the actress? I think it was Jenna
Ortega.
Ortega, the one who played Wednesday. Is like, don't piggyback off other people. Like, women should have, or at least like new characters. Create new characters. The problem is that when they try to do that, I don't know what's happening right now, but creativity has just gone so low.
The bar is very low.
They're not making compelling characters. They're not making compelling stories, so they have to piggyback off things that already work.
Do you know why? Because they're hiring people that are game players. They're hiring people that will, okay, I want you to do this right now. Don't ask questions. And they're like, yes, sir. Right away, sir. People who don't ask questions, people that will put up with their crap when they push them around. And when you hire people like that, they're not exactly, when you're not a risk taker, when you don't ever question or buck against the system, you're not a creative thinker.
Right.
By any means. So then that's going to translate into TV shows that are not that creative. So if you think about it, think about the people they're hiring, think about why they're hiring them, what their prerequisites are for.
And we all know that if you're hiring people based off of your sexual orientation or the color of your skin, then you're missing the point of creativity. History Eraser Button says, who would have made an excellent Agatha Harkness if they wanted to do a comics accurate story? Would have been Maggie Smith. Rest in peace.
You're a woman with a brain and reasonable ability. Stop whining and find something to do.
Oh, right.
I love that so much.
I love Maggie Smith.
When Maggie Smith passed, Tabitha and I were actually talking, and I was like, that is a level of facial expression.
Yeah.
Just pettiness that I would, I strive for. I want to be Maggie Smith so bad. Like, the subtlety. I'm not good at subtle.
No.
Yeah. You're not.
No. You're not.
We love you anyway, but no.
Right. But you're not. No.
I love you guys for your honesty.
I wouldn't be quite as honest if Maria wasn't here, just because I'd be scared. But no, she gives
You're
me
a liar.
she gives me
Stop.
courage.
You're so full of it.
Sometimes full of piss and vinegar is what my great grandmother used to say.
My mom always told me, "You're so full of. Your eyes are brown."
Wow. No,
Oh
no, never
wow,
had
that's
that.
much less no.
Oh, don't get me started. That's one of the nicest things she's ever said to me.
Well, there you are. Interesting. Okay, well, so comics aside, the show that you have seen, what are your I mean, Maria hasn't seen it, but what
I
are
have
your
not seen
thoughts, Danny, given that you know so much about its lore? What do you think of the show thus far?
Sorry about that. I should have muted my mic when I cleared my throat.
Oh, I was waiting for like a berating like parade.
No, I was outside today. It's my first time actually going to really do anything since the surgery.
Nice.
So I was very excited. I went to the last day of wiffle ball with Mishmoo. And
That sounds so country club.
wiffle ball.
It was the last day of wiffle ball with me and Shmoo.
Well, it's he's been doing this with all of our friends from high school for over a decade, almost 20 years, I would say. They've been doing it for at least 20, 25. So it's a big deal. They do it every Sunday in the
wiffle ball was for kids.
Well, you've clearly never seen it with a bunch of middle-aged men who've been drinking all day.
Same thing.
It is
Wow.
a hoot.
It's the same thing. I was going to say that.
Same
It's like,
thing.
yep, it's the same thing.
Listen, when we were first dating, he invited me to come out, and I get there, and he had a bit to drink, and Dave is not a drinker.
Oh.
And as soon as I got there, he dove to catch a ball, and he slid face first about 6 feet. I said, "You know what? I think I'm going to stay," and I sat down.
Yeah.
But so I have some allergy issues because I was outside for the first time in 2 months.
With your Shmoo. Okay. But anyway, back to Agatha.
I like the show.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to remember for what it is. Okay. I'm a fan of Agatha in the comics, but I'm also a fan of Catherine Hahn and the character that she has built. So I'm enjoying that. I'm enjoying that so far. That said, I swear to you on all that is holy, that if they change that boy, if they change Wiccan, because in the comics, Billy Kaplan is Wanda's son. He's the reincarnated Wanda's son, and he becomes Wiccan. And they have shown in the series, in WandaVision, that when Billy started to get his magic, when he aged up to 10 years old, his magic was blue. And in the in the trailer they've shown Teen wielding the exact same shade of blue magic. His outfit, I believe it's the upcoming episode, is very reminiscent of his Wiccan costume. So they're definitely building it up for him to be Wiccan.
Okay.
But if they change him from Billy Kaplan, aka Wanda's Billy, to Agatha's son, Nicholas Scratch, reincarnated as Billy, I will riot and I will burn this thing to the ground. I swear to you.
Why? What's the big deal?
Because that is Wanda's boy. Okay. That is what she was ready to burn the entire world to the ground down for. And Billy is Wiccan. That is changing the character intrinsically. If you do that, me as a writer, as a fan, as a mom, I don't care. I'll throw that one in there too. Mother,
give them all she got, Captain.
Yeah, give it all she's got, Captain.
Every credential that you have.
Yeah, I as a science fiction author, as a cosmetologist,
as a human and an American in the United States,
I will riot, because that's a step too far. It's a bridge too far for my taste, to be perfectly honest. But I am enjoying the writing so far. It's way better than several of the Marvel shows, a few of the Star Wars shows, and let's just face it, their witch song, their witch song was clearly written and composed by human beings, opposed to the Acolyte, which was clearly Chat GPT just taking the wheel. So,
ouch.
Listen, for the last couple of weeks, I have randomly just started singing
down to
the road, or seekest thou the road. My daughter's like, stop. There is a TikTok of this couple, and the guy's like my husband for the last week, and he's just standing there holding the phone, and all of a sudden you hear in the background, seekest thou the road, and he's like,
so it's funny because when they started singing that, I'm like, why does this little tune sound so familiar?
Ooh, and why does it?
Really quickly, History Racer says, I mean, in Disney Plus productions, we know they'll play fast and loose with characters. They tossed a hulking into She-Hulk.
Hulkling. Yeah. Hulk. Now, here's the thing I need to say about She-Hulk real fast, and I will make it fast. I'll try at least.
All right, clock's going.
So
go.
The thing with She-Hulk, and I got real. Stop it, guys! You're making it take longer.
I'm making her nervous.
So I actually got into it with a couple people over this because they were like, Stanley is rolling in his grave. She-Hulk's twerking. She-Hulk's boning. I'm like, tell me you haven't read a She-Hulk comic without telling me you haven't read a She-Hulk comic.
I have to agree with that. Yeah.
She was pretty sexy.
See my John Byrne comic right there. That's Sensational She-Hulk #1. And let me tell you something that Hulk, the male Hulk, he is representative of the duality of man. Plain and simple. He's a Jekyll and Hyde, the duality of man. And She-Hulk, therefore, is the duality of woman. She likes to party. She likes to have fun. She likes to bone. Okay, that is She-Hulk in a nutshell. And the character aspect of the show, they absolutely nailed. That is 100% She-Hulk. That is her. Now, the structure of the show is where they failed. It was
very boring.
Poor execution. It was boring. They pandered to women because they're like, hey, let's make a comic book show for girls and make it stupid girly. And they did.
Their audience they were trying to appeal to was 30-year-old single drunk women, I think is what they were basically saying. Wine bibbers, you know.
And women comic book lovers, we like action too. We like people getting punched in the face,
kicked,
right. And what they should have done with that series was have a cold open, and you see a superhero or a supervillain get into a situation where they need a lawyer, and then you get your title card, and then they get She-Hulk attorney at law, and then the show ensues. That's how they should have done it, like a comedic procedural, and it would have worked perfectly, but they didn't. They didn't. I don't know what the heck that was that they did, but they made a mess out of it, and I really wanted to like it. I go into everything with
optimistic.
Objectively optimistic, but also with zero expectations. I don't want to know anything other than, I'm going to watch this show and hopefully I get something out of it. And She-Hulk was just too much. It was absolutely.
It was too much in one way and not enough in another.
Right. So
anyway, back to the little ditty. I was like, why is this tune sound familiar? Because you said the what were the first little parts of the song?
Seekest thou the road?
Okay.
All that's foul and fair.
Okay, well, just that little opening part reminded me of, you're gonna laugh so hard at this, but it reminded me of this children's Christian group that I knew. Well, not knew, but grew up with, and it was called the Donut Man. And The donut man, because life without Jesus is like a donut because there's a hole in the middle of your heart. That's right.
Precious.
It is.
Facts.
I grew up on that. So anyway, the Donut Man was known for taking Bible lessons and turning them into these really awesome songs. My brother and I can sing them for you to this day. Like Josh was really, really good at that.
Well, now I'm going to need him to do that someday.
Next time, do Matthew and the Tax Collector. That'll be good. But so he used to go on tour and sing these songs with these kids, and it was super fun. Let me see, the Donut Man. And
start inking.
Let me find a.
Well, I'm gonna have to ask Dave if he knows of the Donut Man.
It was an American thing. Oh, here we go. Duncan and the Donut Man. Hang on.
Is this one? Yeah, this is one. Okay.
But anyway, there was a song. Let me bring up a picture. There was a song that they had, and where are you at? Window. Here we go. Sharing. The Donut Man. I don't know what his real name was, but there. And then you see the little donut. His name was Duncan. Dunkin' Donut. And anyway, there was a song that in the beginning it goes, "When I take a bath." That little tune reminded me of the witches ones. I haven't finished the song, but like it goes, "When I take a bath, I think about the Lord and how he washed away my sin. Let me tell you more. He washed my feet so I could walk." And
whenever I take a bath, I think about the Lord.
Yeah, and how he washed away my sin. Let me tell you more. And just talk about how God cleans up your life. He cleans up the way that you talk, the way that you walk, and all that kind of stuff. So it's just funny when that first started, that little tune just kind of like, I was like, it sounds like the Donut Man. Oh yeah, good times. Duncan.
But that song has been an absolute total earworm, and for those who do not know, Celtic magical lore is filled with musical ritual.
Agreed.
Absolutely filled with it. So anyone complaining that they had a song in their ritual to open this door clearly has never read a friggin' fairy tale.
Never read a friggin' fairy tale. Chris the Greek. Yeah, yes. Okay, my brother. We know the Donut Man. Well, and I had to explain to someone the other day that we were talking about Agatha and how it was kind of weird. And of course, it doesn't help that the press tour and everything like that, everything was centralized on sexual orientation.
Yes.
I want to put the blame on that solely at the feet of Variety, specifically.
Yeah, the interviewers. Yeah, they put those actors on the spot.
They did, and those actors are basically terrified to answer affirmative or negative. They don't know what to say. They don't want to put themselves or the show or anyone else in
because you're doomed these days. You're doomed if you do and doomed if you don't.
Right. I will say that I have a lot of respect for Joe Locke because he is the one gay cast member, and he responded to that interviewer.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes. He said, well, I mean, it is a layer of the show. There is a character that is homosexual, but I find that that's very reductive and dangerous for especially the gay community to reduce them to that one fact when that's something we've been fighting against.
Okay.
Oh, respect.
So lots of respect for that kid. I instantly loved him after that, and he must be protected because him and Jenna Ortega, they're young, they're up and coming in this industry. And it's very, very difficult, as we were talking about earlier, to keep your own mind in this industry, because the people in charge are going to try and dictate your life and tell you if you don't think and act and say the things that they tell you to, you're not going to work anywhere. You're not going to have a job, you're not going to have a career. So that's very, very difficult to do, to stand
especially
your
as a
ground.
young person.
Absolutely. When you don't know any better and you haven't been able yet to develop that kind of strength and character, it's very difficult for you.
You've literally just started your career. You're on a high note. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. And history eraser button, absolutely. Aubrey Plaza was absolutely messing with that interviewer. She was like, "Oh yeah, there's a full gay explosion at the end."
Well, so that was the thing too. So they were talking about all of this stuff with the homosexuality, and then of course, now you're going into the show looking for it and waiting for it.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
there was that one moment where Aubrey Plaza's character, I forget what she's called,
Rio Vidal.
Thank you. She, when Agatha got her hand cut, she reached for it and she licked the blood off, right? And this person
she healed the hand.
Well, but the person was saying, it's like a lot of people. I say a lot of people, but I was reading even on Twitter, people like the shippers as they call them now. It's like, oh, there's just so much sexual tension between Agatha and to me, and
Oh
this
my
obviously
gosh.
gets on the nerves of viewers and stuff like that. When I was talking to this person, I said, okay, here's the thing: is that is not uncommon in witch circles
Witch lore.
when it comes to that. I said because they're I was like, you also have to remember, it's like she apparently is like being personified as like maybe a bad guy or whatever the case might is. So that's a really easy way to creep somebody out, especially we the audience, because that's not a normal act of cultural society to go up to somebody and lick blood. Number one, lick them, and then secondly,
that's how you
blood.
get diseases.
And so it's actually, and I told this person was also saying, I was also saying like with witches, I was like, it's also they're very impish. There is an element of sexuality, but it's more of just sensuality.
Yes.
And just being confident in who they are, being kind of quirky and impish and doing weird things. It doesn't automatically make them lesbians.
Right.
It's a way to throw you off.
Right. And in their case, they are exes. So.
But then there's that. So it's like, it doesn't necessarily mean that per se, but I mean, at the same time, we don't know anymore because they push so hard for
and they do it is discovered. It is something that we're dealing with now, that Disney does pay posters. They do pay bots. They pay people to post this stuff. And that's very frustrating. Those people that post like that constantly, like, oh God, she's mother, and just the shipper posting.
The shippers, yep.
It annoys me to no end. I think it's super reductive to the story and literally everything else. And it almost makes you embarrassed to say that, yeah, I like this show, because I don't want to be associated with that. It's in its immaturity. It's immature nonsense, and I don't care for it.
No, exactly. Because I mean, like, even with me, I know a lot of people that don't like the show because of this, that, and the third, and I understand completely. But I went into I like the first 2 episodes. I'm not saying it's brilliant, but at the same time, you kind of be like, well, unfortunately, I'm old enough and mature enough where peer pressure is not quite as what it used to be when I was younger. But at the same time, you don't want to, you tread cautiously, and it's I like the first 2 episodes. The third episode was kind of weak sauce for me. There was some
it was a filler episode, but there was some, we did learn things. It still progressed the story.
It could have been so much better. I definitely got Disney Channel vibes from that episode. But it wasn't like, all this horrible things happened that throw me off and I was disgusted. It was just more of like, for me, it just lacked luster. But yeah, you gotta kind of like, okay, I'm okay with liking a show that not a lot of other people like. History Racer, we don't even want to go there. I felt very uncomfortable. I mean, I know that they're just fictional characters and all that, but when I saw that post on Twitter, I was physically uncomfortable inside when I saw that scene.
For Rings of Power.
For Rings of Power. That was
I
gross.
sat and watched that episode yet. It's the show's pretty boring for me.
Yeah, it is for most people. I usually, if I am watching it, I have it on in the background while I draw because then I don't have to focus too hard.
Yeah,
because the plot's really not that deep.
Right. I had it on. Oh, I forgot. I had it on in the background while I was doing stuff, so I didn't really catch anything.
You didn't catch the ick?
Yeah, I didn't catch any of that. But yeah, they're really messing with Tolkien lore in that show.
They're messing with everybody's lore.
And that's messing with like Hemingway almost. You know, that is a writer that's a staple.
Okay, it's like messing with Jesus. It's just not okay.
But here's the thing. This is from the friend that really likes Rings of Power. It's just a fiction, you know, it's fan fiction.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, but it is fan fiction because they do not claim anything, but you're still basing it off characters that technically do exist have their own stories. You know, so it's like, but then again, he doesn't really care too much about canon, and he's a big, huge, you know, Last Jedi fan.
Well, that's everything. I'm just kidding.
He does say it. I tell him the same thing, but still, you know, he's like adamant saying that it is probably the best Star Wars that he has ever seen, and I'm like, okay, yeah, sure.
Including the originals.
I haven't asked him.
You should
not. Don't ask.
Never tell us that guy's name.
We write it down.
You see, I have friends all over the place.
There you go. Oh, are you threatening us? That sounded kind of dangerous. Didn't that sound dangerous, Dani? I'm a little nervous.
Oh, come on.
I have friends all over the place. I heard threatening undertones in that. No, the thing is that fan fiction, there's nothing wrong with fan fiction. My problem is that I think my issue is that I think there's a problem with giant corporations who have the rights to so many different things creating fan fiction as if it's lore. I find that to be problematic. But I mean, I guess it's not necessarily illegal, but it's very strange to a lot of us. By the way, quick question here. I'm still working. I'm only on the first layer of color. She's got a long ways to go, but
likewise.
I am very confused with her outfit. So I'm going to assume here, Dani, that the outfit that they've chosen for like WandaVision specifically, because that's
you guys are drawing a new version of Agatha.
Well, okay,
you're drawing a new version of her.
Oh well, darn! I'm looking at comic book. Okay, because I see the old.
Looking at a new comic book, newish comic book.
Okay, so in the olden days, she was never hot.
No, she was an old lady.
Always an old woman.
That picture that you put up with her holding the cat.
Yeah, that was always how she looked.
That is Agatha.
Okay, because I was really confused because I'm like, all right, so I see the old woman and then I see the younger woman and then I see her in WandaVision and I'm like, her outfit looks a little bit more like the older woman and I'm like, I don't know how to draw this chibi. I don't know how to do this.
Yeah, you guys are drawing a new version that only diehard comic fans are really gonna know.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, don't I feel stupid now?
Well, diehard new comic book fans. I haven't read the new stuff. I've kind of glanced over it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but I don't know. I'm one of those people who are like, comics just aren't the same anymore. Like, it's just, I've not really had that much of an interest to get into newer comics because they've just,
they suck. Yeah, we got it. Let's just call a spade now. They're not good. They're not good.
Oh my gosh. I am stuck with the face. This is
well, you could always leave the face blank. Isn't that a certain style where they do that?
I do that sometimes with some of my merch art that I put out there. One of my favorites is I did Rogue like that. Yeah. And I did a couple
I saw that.
Supermans.
So I see that Dani's pretty much done with always with her fabulous makeup. I knew that I would not be able to finish this character uh in one stream. I mean, it typically takes like 5 hours, 6 hours for me to finish one chibi, which is why if you guys saw my art challenges, my first one with GI Joe from with featuring Mark with a C, and he asked me to do 4 chibi characters in 8 hours on top of having an entire background and full color. You'll know that the struggle is very real. And it was really frustrating. I mean, it turned out really good, I think, but it was kind of frustrating at the same time because it could have been so much more. But was super, super fun. And if you haven't caught my last video, you should totally check it out because it was super cool. With another G.I. Joe, D-Day Cobra came on the channel and gave me my prompt. History Eraser says, Tabitha, your chibi is a great version of what is basically a new for 2020's character. Well, thank you. I think she's turning out pretty cute. She's very gothic looking at the moment, but that will change when I give her lips and things like that. And Maria is doing a great action Agatha. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's gonna be great. Look at the folds of that material.
Got her triple goddess symbol at her
right there.
Nice. I've got it too. It's just it's there. It's just I have to accentuate it with coloring pencils. It's there. And then there's Dani's face, of course,
is gorgeous.
And I've got my Agatha bun.
Nice.
Going.
Yeah.
So I am so tempted. I would love to do this in marker.
You should do it.
Oh yeah,
I don't have markers.
Oh, okay. Well, then don't do that.
I don't have markers.
I need more markers. I don't have enough markers. I've got probably close to 200 markers, and it's honestly, guys, unless you're an artist, you'll understand it's just not enough. It's not enough colors.
Never enough.
Advance it. For those that don't know, I do offer coloring pages of a lot of my chibis over on my Patreon. Sometimes I release them for free. If you're interested in my Agatha chibi drawing, I have that available for free. There are several free coloring pages of my chibis available over on Patreon. That link is down in the description box below. Obviously, if you become a patron, you will get access to a lot of other cool features. But from time to time, I do release my coloring pages for free, and I thought for fun, Agatha coloring page would be cool. I was really happy with how the drawing turned out. And sometimes I like the drawings more than I do the colored versions, but then I get them going on, and pretty proud of a lot of them. My latest one that I did beforehand was Sally from A Nightmare Before Christmas. She turned out really cool. And I also have stickers available for those that are big fans of Jack and Sally. New release over there on Etsy. I'm pretty proud of this one. I actually had Lily from 300 Mirrors help me with designing in the background because she's a huge Nightmare Before Christmas fan. And, with Christmas and Halloween around the corner, this is just perfect for you. And, of course, I also have my Beetlejuice, and Lydia sticker available. It will not come. The ones that for sale don't come with the QR code and the tag. These are basically like I use them as promotional things and business cards when I'm out and about. But yeah, get yourself some cool swag. We are coming up on a little over an hour and a half, and I would suggest because I'm really curious to see how Maria is going to finish off her picture, because she's an amazing watercolorist, unless she decides to try something new and do markers. You guys should follow her.
Well, first of all, thank you so much. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish inking her, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to photocopy her and try her out in different mediums.
That would be phantasmagorical, which is an improper use of that word, but I like it. I like it a lot. Yeah, but thank you guys for hanging out with us. Any parting thoughts? Anything? Any facts, Dani, that we just didn't get? We just didn't get on Agatha. What are you hoping to see in the upcoming episodes of Agatha All Along?
Action, fun, and Billy Kaplan being Wanda's son and not Nicholas Scratch. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. Well, we've got, what is it? How many? There's 8 episodes a season, right? And so can they fit all of that in 8 episodes or whatever it is?
We shall see. Only one way to find out.
Subscribe to Disney Plus or pirate it off of the internet. Let me.
Yeah, don't give them your money.
Yeah. Don't give them your money. Okay, let me type that up. Tabitha, I want to try to unofficially recruit you for a new show on Moonskull. Oh my. Well, we have to see if I have time. Moonskull, their games, their tabletop games, they run for a long time. And I've talked to Moss before and we were gonna do one, but I was like, Moss, I can't commit 4 months of my life. I can't do it.
This is like D&D.
Yeah, and it was super cool because it was going to be Lord of the Rings style.
Oh,
and
nice.
Of course, I was totally on board for that, but I was just like, Moss, I can't commit. I can't commit right now to being dedicated for like, as I was like, this was a couple of months ago, and holy crap, I hope it was. I don't think he's kept it a secret. Dear God. Oh well. It's only 9 people here. So I can't tell. I was like, how long is the campaign going to be? He's like, well, I was like, Moss, is this going to be like, are you thinking that this could go? This was a couple of months ago. I said, are you thinking that this could possibly go into November? And he's like, maybe. I'm like, I can't do that. Time part, but look into it. Yeah, it was really fun when I was on Moonskull, and I played as Celia Monroe, the richest gal in town whose family owned pretty much everything in France, even though she was an American and her family was from Russia. It doesn't have to make sense. It was just good, fun, and I hope that
French people super loved that.
Yeah, absolutely. And my character got arrested, and I'm just hoping that Mr. Scruffles is still with us. I hope he's okay. But anyway, what are you guys got going on? Dani, what's going on before we close out? Where can the people find you? What to expect from you? Tell us everything.
You can find me at on YouTube. It's at Comics and Everything. You can find me on literally any social media platform you can think of. Just type in Comics and you'll see this face or a version thereof. I'm doing Agatha All Along watch parties every Wednesday as soon as the episode drops. So you can join us for that. I just dropped a new video called Has Star Trek Made Us Smarter? So that's the latest one. I'm currently working on, I'm researching the Crow graphic novel that came out in 1989 that the movies are based off of. And I'm going to do a breakdown / comparison against the 1994 film and the current film. So I'm kind of excited about that. And it's going to be a makeup breakdown. I haven't done one of those.
Oh, that's sweet.
Months.
You're looking forward to that.
That's yeah, definitely.
So that's what's coming. That's it. That's all I got.
Well, good. I just dropped the link to your Star Trek Made Us Smarter video in the chat. Check that out if you haven't already. What about you, Maria?
Well, I am on every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern with my new live stream, which is just called Art and Chatting, which is the most laid back, open concept art stream that you can possibly think of, in which me and perhaps a guest, I've already had the beautiful dreaming Tabitha with me. And I have had, last week, I've had Stunning and Brave Megatron on as a last minute thing, and probably soon Dani, you may want to, come along. So it's an open concept art stream in which you can do whatever you want to your heart's content.
My favorite. Do whatever you want.
Do whatever you want. No stress, no pressure. You can finish it. You cannot finish it. You can, ramble, and we just chat. And the best part is that the people, what they want is to see the process of how it's done. So right now I'm working on my 5 designs for my 200 Christmas cards that I have been commissioned.
Mm-hmm. You busy gal.
I am a busy little girl. So I am working on those, but then I've worked on oil paints. I have worked on pastels that turned out miserable. You just try new things, and that's on every Thursday, and we just chat and just hang out. It's so laid back, so stress free.
That's awesome.
We're already stressed in the world. It's like, why?
Yeah.
Why more?
So that's why we do artwork, to add more stress to our life. It's therapeutic stress. That's what artwork is. Nobody ever tells you that in college.
So that's every Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time.
Awesome.
And then you can catch me here on the regular sometimes, which is an oxymoron, but I'm trying to be regular. We did not have our art party this month. It's basically
we are the OG.
We are the art party. We've been going on for a little over a year now, which is phantasmagorical. Again, improper use of that word, but it sounds so right. And I appreciate these lovely ladies for being willing to come on and try new things and explain the ins and outs of Agatha. Dani did a bang up job. Maria, yours looked fantastic, and mine's coming along. She's cute and hot and kind of like a little chipmunk, but we'll see where Agatha takes us. And all of that is good. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and like on your way out, everybody. We will catch you next time.
In your eyes, so true. Let me